get you to mute there, Mr. Keshe. Thank you.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 406th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 11th, 2021. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be host today for Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. And I believe he's ready, willing, and able to begin today's Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, good day to you. Wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back. 406. We're nearly coming to our 8th year anniversary, even though teaching on this line with Rick goes long before that. We have passed many milestones in the process of the development of the Keshe Foundation, and one of the most glorious times for us has been bringing the knowledge and its capabilities and what he can do back to his motherland in Iran. We had the pleasure this week to see that the Keshe Foundation in manufacturing in Iran have put its mark on what we call the Iranian territory. The first factory of the Keshe Foundation in Iran was put up and has gone into operation, going into producing magnums in Iran as of this week. And it's good to see that we become the nation without border. It's good to see that the Keshe Foundation has become a sign of delivery irrespective of borders, nationality, and race. China, Tehran, Arizona, Mexico. We've seen it in Italy, in Africa, and in Austria. It is nice to see the flagships starting, delivering the technology for confirmation of its application. We will see very soon the products in the next 3-4 weeks coming out of this factory with the probably logo of the Keshe Foundation in Iran. And we are hoping to extend this to at least another 5 to 10 nations in the next 2 or 3 years. This gives us what we call the strength to be there to serve humanity and to be there to bring the changes. Very soon out of these factories in Iran, we will see spaceship systems coming up. We will see the development of the new technologies, which is at the moment out of the reach of men. It's beautiful to see this, thanks to the Iranian team, the support of especially the Keshe Foundation Iran as an organization. And in so many ways, we thank the Office of His Eminence Al-Khali of Iran and the Iranian leadership and the Sepah of Iran supporting and nurturing this technology to come to merge as part of the technology which bring the change. This factory is exclusively built to produce magnums. And we have already received orders from China for export, and we will release these from Iran. The team in Iran working extensively, and Keshe Foundation, in support of his work, will extend these productions. We're endeavoring to complete the Nigerian side before Christmas to start moving. It is interesting that how us as knowledge seekers have kept the flag of the knowledge, new technology alive. And we are pushing it through. We are pushing it very much through. Even though some people use our images and our pictures and knowledge for lying and cheating to the others. In a report which is now has seen, and we've seen many of us, is the picture of what we call the old, what we see, the Keshe Foundation reactor, which was built in Iran. And as many of us know, this reactor with its housing is used for the flight testing in Sharif Tehran University. What is amazing, and many of you have not seen, is this, which you will understand immediately. This is the reactor of Keshe Foundation, a copied. And the ex-Prime Minister of Israel, as you see him, claiming it as a Iran nuclear weapon technology developing for weapon. Now we can see how a technology can be misrepresented by the people to create mayhem, to create war. We give humanity the means and the tools to travel. And what we see, those are what the wrong-minded change the same thing. It is interesting how close the picture is to the reality of the center of this reactor, because I am the designer and I know what I've designed, and we see very strange thing. And the strange part is, for me, is this part, which you will see, very interesting, is this. How did the Israelis got their hand on the internal design of the reactor? We know one way, the Austria President Ahmadinejad, the way he sold the Iranian nuclear physicists to be murdered, has passed the technology on. The similarity between these two reactors is so close, even the frame is so close, that knowledge of space technology for peace and development by a misguided mind of Netanyahu became the reason for Iran to become part of the weapon technology, by lying, by cheating. And as I said, now we understand how our knowledge, our technology, our assets as a Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers have been abused by those who want to change things to their own benefit. And in so many ways, as I said very clearly, as we see on the picture, this is not far from what you saw on that picture, but now more sophisticated. But this is what will go on the table of the negotiation +1 on the 28th of November when the negotiation starts in Vienna. The same thing as Netanyahu claimed to be the new Iranian nuclear reactor now is shown, as I explained in other teaching. The system which replaces centrifuge. Iran does not need centrifuge when it's in a position of such advanced technology that can produce 100% enriched uranium at will. If you remember, I warned and I explained Iran has passed 95% and 90%. Iran can produce 100%. But this has other implication for all of us. In our work, in our sharing our technology, be aware that our work does not become a tool to be used to discredit us and at the same time for war. The flagship, the banner of Keshe Foundation has been peace, knowledge to be used as knowledge in exchange for peace. It is part of our work. This is part of teaching so extensively and so deeply. When you understand the time of weapon technology has gone, because anybody can produce plutonium, uranium, and any other which they like at will. It's the time for all of us and our leaders to understand. The time has come for man to use materials as weapon technology. As I said to Iranian leadership very recently. It is like when you look at this machine and you look at the what we call the present centrifuges, even Iran has managed to reach 30,000 RPM. It is very interesting. That is like in the movies where you see the guy pulls a sword out, which is the present Iranian advanced central, what we call centrifuge system, and the other guy just pull a gun out. The sword cannot move because it's a waste of time. There is no match. Our gun is our knowledge. Our gun is these systems that makes those centrifuges obsolete. And this will be part of the cornerstones of peace, part of the work of the knowledge seekers, to understand our work comes by serving. Our work does not stop just because we manage to show, to deliver, to bring and cajole more leaders to understand more and more. When you look at the structure in the new exhibition center, the two pieces of Iranian system, which Netanyahu used to show as a new Iranian nuclear reactor, is sitting in the center of the exhibition of the lens. When you come in, it's in a flight mode, it's in the center, hanging in the air. And this is important for all of us. This is important for all the knowledge seekers to understand that we are here to change the position. We are here to what we call, we change the condition of understanding. We are here to bring the position of change for all of us in so many ways that mankind will be good enough to deliver technologies to each other. In so many ways, we will see changes. We will bring in the positions of understanding that new technologies delivered by us has to have the credibility of what we call application, credibility of what we call implication, the credibility of being there to understand, to be able to change, to bring the changes. And it's more important for all of us to be able to understand we are the game changers. We are, with our knowledge and technology, those who will bring the change, the what we call understanding, and what we call the passion for peace. The passion for delivering a knowledge that brings many, many things to all of us. What would be the next step? What would be the most perfect things for all of us to see, to have, to possess, and to deliver? In understanding this, we see the knowledge of the creation. We see the knowledge of understanding. We see the changes that we are waiting for. Delivery of the new, what we call a space system for flight, is combination of understanding the work of the systems. When we endeavor to show more, when we go back to teach more, never think about how somebody will misguidedly use your knowledge and technology of the plasma for misguiding others or trying to create mayhem. Be part of the structure that you understand. Be part of the structure that you always think positive. Think good, act good, and deliver by the way you do good for it. And thinking good, doing good, it brings us the good result at the end of it. When I saw the pictures of Netanyahu, I thought, this man, whatever you give him, will turn it upside down the way he likes. But gladly, he's out of the scene. Gladly, Soon we'll see this guy behind the prison bars, or what we call misconduct, as a leader of the what we call Western world. And what is interesting, and there is a message to world leaders who meet, to be aware of what I call misinformation by people like Netanyahu, who fed the American and the public that Iran is in possession of the new nuclear weapon, where that weapon is the knowledge that all of you carry as part of the space technology. It's not easy to change the mind of those who have a mindset and they want to think that way. It is a shame to see how the world leadership allows such a misconduct, such a misrepresentation to come forward. The sanctions on Iran got more and more tightened by these misguided misinformations by the state of Israel to the Americans, and then believing in it. My technology, what we developed as a tool of flight, has been misrepresented as a tool of war. And this hurts deeply inside to see these kind of misrepresentations. We've seen the same, what has happened to us in the past year and a half across internet. We've seen the same, what has happened to us since we left in early 2013 from one nation to another. This has been the way that mankind has to change, by spreading the knowledge, by opening the factories, by spreading centers that they can deliver technology that everybody uses. These kind of behavior become isolated. In response to what we've seen in the past few months and past few years, bombardment of the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers with everything possible, we'll respond back today in a very beautiful way. When we see the factory in Iran, Keshe Foundation will definitely in the coming weeks will open its first university in Europe, with guidance and affiliation to one of the leading universities in Iran, then with the United States. In this respect, Arizona will be extended to a university, a state-level institute, financed totally by the Keshe Foundation. We do the same in conjunction with the Chinese. In the response to what we have seen, Keshe Foundation has come to facilitate an arrangement that will open, starting from January of this year, 1,000 what we call enhancement center, wellness centers around the world at the rate that we can supply the enhancement units to them. Which means we expect to open about one a week, passing February, March, and thereon to extend to 2 centers around the world. We make a decision where and how this will be done. Most of the system places, as we call the wellness centers, will be constructed, and negotiation will start with the Chinese construction company, China Construction, one of the leading what we call producers of properties and landmarks around the world, which means you will see replication one after another. We will equip all the centers with at least 3 to 6 body enhancement units, 3 to 6 vertical and horizontal units, and a number of the new, what we call vision and brain enhancement units. And then once we complete the first cycle, we go back and we extend it. We are not opening a franchise looking for people to buy the Keshe Foundation. All these structures will be owned and controlled by the Keshe Foundation directly. which means as of today, we are not waiting to somebody to come and say, I want to buy 1 or 2 machines. We are going out to set out the centers, owned by all of us, owned by Keshe Foundation as one nation, and the progress in that direction. We have already informed the authorities of Iran in the government level that the Keshe Foundation from December on will start the process of building the first CO2 capture area in Tehran for capture of CO2 for change of air pollution in Tehran. Keshe Foundation, through its organizations and facilities, has allocated a large finance for this job. The same will be done in New York, the same will be done in London, and the same in Beijing. Again, all the constructions will go to what we call China Construction Company, because they deliver within 3 to 6 months from instruction to the key to operation. The reason we've gone for the CO2 capture is very simple. We show the capability of the technology directly in public domain. In this process, as I said, there is no ambiguity. And the production of capture of CO2 in a very large scale, up to 1,000 tons a year, will force what we call to close the discussion of the global warming and all the false commitments we've seen in past week in Scotland. There is no need to create fake numbers, and the way we structured it, we don't need for no government to finance us. That will find a finance for the project. As part of my private financial background and the financial structure, and the people who work with us will allow us to bring this very rapidly into the open. Keshe Foundation will endeavor to increase a lot of work around the world very rapidly. As many of you know, the Keshe Foundation Mexico, which is still owned on the ownership on the paper of the Mitra, is still financially and structurally is part of the Keshe Foundation International. And this, through the agreements, will allow Mexico to be financially supported and structured to a high level, again, for production, mass production of what we call high-level advanced technologies. We finance these through agreements, which is done. On the other hand, we will see the establishment of the large structures, especially in China, in Iran, and United States, for space technology. Keshe Foundation will endeavor to increase the production of the flight system to at least a significant numbers by the end of next year. The technology, again, is part of the 5+1 negotiation that we do not ask the Americans or the Chinese or the people on the table of negotiation that you give us this, we do that. We tell them we are investing, we are in your country, we are already established, deal with it. It's your problem, not ours. It's yours to bring what we call sanity to a lot of things and mankind. And by the construction of the first 5 CO2 centers around the world, the whole chapter of the global warming will come to an end. The structure is very simple. Keshe Foundation will build in a specific way, with the permission of the authorities, 5 centers around each city. And then we give what you call family units, the enhancement portable units, to each family, poor families, which means they can look after the unit, maybe 1 or 2, make sure it can produce vast amount of CO2, and we buy the CO2 from them. For the purposes which the Keshe Foundation has and can apply the COTs. In a way, we bring wealth to poverty nations, poverty families, even in the richest nations around the world. In a way, it's like giving a cow which you own to a man who has nothing and tell him, you look after it, milk it, and I'll pay you for the milk. And I support you to feed the family and not just the cow. This is important as part of the structure of one nation, one planet. Most of the works we'll do around the world from now on will be based in how we can change the life of individuals, not just to deliver technology. In the coming months and coming years, Keshe Foundation will place a large number of the machines at the disposal of what we call organizations which are there to help nations. We hear about hunger in Afghanistan. We hear about hunger and lack of food in different parts of the world due to what we call positioning, due to drought, due to fire, due to earthquake. These units, for every unit we
excuse
build.
me, Mr. Keshe, I'm having trouble hearing you here.
Why?
I'm not sure if it's at my end or
It's on your end, I presume.
or what's happening that way.
Can you hear me? Am I clear?
Lost all audio.
We hear you clearly, Rick. They're right, we can hear you clearly. It's your new microphone, I think.
Sorry, Mr. Keshe.
Can you hear me?
I'm not able to hear you.
Yes, but everybody
Azar
else
says
can.
you are good, Mr. Keshe, and clear. We can hear okay. Okay, so something's
your end.
happened with the audio on my Zoom end. So let me, I think I'll probably have to restart my Zoom, but let me see if I can try something here.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now through
Okay.
well, I see. Let me see if it'll.
Yep. I can carry on.
My desktop audio captures no longer capturing. So it's,
Can you hear me?
okay. I may have to restart my.
I think it's something to do with your
in
audio,
order for that to hook
your
up again.
microphone.
So
Please.
you just carry on, Mr. Keshe, and I'll come
Okay,
back in shortly.
thank you very much. As a co-host, we can carry on. KF Studio is online. We can carry on and record everything. As we said, in cooperation with international organizations, we'll make sure for every system we make, there are a number of systems in the backup for emergency delivery that people can use for overcoming hunger and everything else. In a short time, Keshe Foundation will deliver majority programs directly through KF. The beauty with our work is that we can work closely with many countries, and mainly Keshe Foundation will work through Universal Council members to be able to facilitate the delivery of the technologies. We will not leave things out, but will become all-inclusive. And we try to bring the support of what we call different world leaders to support the delivery of technology to their country, but not use our, what we call, delivery of technology as part of their political use. As part of our work, we will very soon announce the involvement of the Keshe Foundation in the United States and in an European country which is highly polluted in the water level and extremely connected to the council level. This is one of our priority because these waters are getting exported around the world, even though they carry the most dangerous cancerous agents in different shape or form. in the food structure. In response to our work, we look at the collaboration of knowledge seekers to help, to bring us to see, but at the same time, we have to be ready for it to deliver. As I told the Keshe Foundation China yesterday, the new management structure which is taken over, that we will extend in the same industrial zone the manufacturing capability of the Keshe Foundation up to 100,000 square meters to be able to support the delivery of the new technologies around the world. We see China as a bedrock of our manufacturing, as everything is set up in there. As around the world, the companies shut down past 20, 30 years, went to China, they have not managed to rebuild it. We go to the nation of Iran for technical support, delivery of the high quality materials to support part of this. Our negotiation will be on delivery of the technology, on delivery of what we call scientific advancement in exchange for peace. I recently spoke with a number of the world leaders to be that the Keshe Foundation will support their nomination and presidential office if they sign their nations into peace, which means in coming to power, they curtail the army, and the army will become part of the helping the nation to build the nation. In a way, we are not taking money, but we are putting the finances back into the nation. In the coming time, this has taught us a lot. Keshe Foundation has become and will become a force to be reckoned with, and a force in knowledge and technology and nothing else, and delivery of technologies. We have to prepare ourselves to bring the new change. We understand what is needed. We understand what is involved. We understand what has to be involved for us to bring new conditions in. We see a number of knowledge seekers have start dripping to see the enhancement center, what we call LINS exhibition. And many of them come expecting to see us or be in touch. I do apologize. You'll see me around the exhibition center walking and doing things, but we do not to be disrespectful, but due to the corona conditions, we try to keep distance that we stay safe. We respect you, we thank you for coming to the center, but please do not expect close communication as the situation in Upper Austria has reached beyond control. For our safety and our staff and ourselves, we keep a very clear distance from what we call public. Austria has had 11,000 infections yesterday, according to government statistics, and is running out of control. So please, when you come in, come with pleasure, but understand we are trying to protect what we call ourselves from the further infections and other things where many of you bring with you as without knowing maybe from your countries and from wherever you come. We thank you for coming. It's beautiful to see knowledge seekers making their way, but for the time being, we have to be. We are very, what we call cordial. We always welcome the knowledge seekers, but the present situation does not allow it, and do not take it as an offense. We take it as part of what it is, and we have to deal with it. Going into the teaching of the Keshe Foundation. In the past weeks, I start to opening knowledge in a different way, in understanding deeper, in understanding more about our work, and more about the background to the knowledge of the creation. And this is very important for most of you to understand, especially those who teach in the background within the Keshe Foundation as teachers. When we come to understanding of the process and creation, and understanding of the whole totality, we need to be aware of one point, and that is how much and who and where and when we can extend the knowledge of creation. As we've seen in life on Earth, and as we have gathered the knowledge and information as part of the knowledge seekers in understanding the work of what we call universe, we need to understand a little bit more, a little bit move out of the village of the earth. When we are in the village of earth, when we sit and live within the structure of this village, we see ourselves in different parts of this planet, having different shapes and different heights and different faces and different behaviors according to where we are born. Chinese looking, black skin, white skin, blue eyes. And we have changed our appearances according to position and places and atmospheric condition and what we call geological conditions. And so we have accepted it because he's Chinese. But we don't say why. What caused? Why can't we give birth straight out of Chinese, without Chinese parents in Africa? Because African condition and environment has forced that kind of skin, that kind of lifestyle and plants and the rest. But this is what has been your knowledge. But what is extension to this knowledge is that the condition of the earth and how man has 2 legs and 2 arms goes back in its position and the field which receives from the sun. Our sun dictates, the fields of our sun dictates the shape, the color, the fields which you receive, which allows the creation of amino acid. And this is part of our life. We have received the fields of the sun, not only in the formation and the format of the interaction of the fields with the and creation of oxygen and nitrogen, but the sun itself creates other fields which are invisible to us, but interact and create the condition of this life. In a way, now you understand maybe when I say the food we eat is 20% of what we use. The other 80% comes from the environment. Maybe the earth produces 40% of it. The rays and the magnetic field of the sun will produce 10 to 15% of it, but we never considered. These come in as the rays, fields, magnetic field interactions, which are not at the moment to the level of understanding of the matter. But the extension of the knowledge has to be added that our sun is part of the galaxy with a central point. So we receive fields and radiations in a way on Earth from the galaxy. This is another 10 to 15% of food supply, energy supply. These are the fields which Earth does not provide. These are the energies which the solar system does not supply. Now you understand why we are part of the universal community. And within this structure, there is furthermore, which is the fields which we absorb from the universe. This field gives us the majority of the what we call our lives, because it's source dependent and source strong. To us, a galaxy looks so huge, but in fact, it's another kidney in a body, or maybe a section of the kidney in a body, or a cell of a kidney in a body. So we get another 10 to 15% from our, what we call universe. Now you see how the teaching fits in. But we have another dimension, which is the unicos and the dimension of the creator, which again we receive directly from source. This is in our body, becomes the center of the soul, the center of the cell of the body of the man. This is where the connection comes in. To man is hidden, is not there, because man never considered he receives, but in fact he was created out of it. When you understand this, you understand the change in the game of creation. Then you understand, as the knowledge of the man extends to the new, what we call level, then we will choose, through that understanding, different speeds of travel. Because then we can capture that speed. Even if we go to the depth of it, we can capture the field strength to the creator. Then we understand the limitation of the speed of light to be the ultimate is for the man in the boundary of the physicality of his life. Then we understand more in how gradually the structure of the life will become more. This knowledge on this screen is sacrosanct if the man wants to travel the span of the universe, and it still exists within its dimension. The conversion of the soul of physicality with understanding the strength of the soul of the creator, where you put everything as the soul of the man, as the soul of physicality, and the soul of the creator as the strength, as the soul of the creation. Then now you understand how every created things in the universe are connected. Every ray which is radiated out of the life and extension of the life of the creator in different spectrums, as they interact, has become part of another life in the dimension of creation. Then you understand how all of us live in that dimension and direction and have taken shape in different forms and formats and shapes in the unicos, in the dimension of the creation and the creator. This becomes part of why I tell you to understand the knowledge that no man from the higher level becomes a magician of you in the lower level because he sees slightly different than you do. The end of prophethood. The beginning of understanding the totality. End of magicians. And understanding in more depth the knowledge of creation. If you have understood this, then you understand how when we put you in the what we call the flight system, according to the clarity of the understanding of the soul of the physicality of the man with his soul, you can decide in which levels you will fly. There is no limitation, except the understanding of the man in the dimension of the soul of his own condition. Now you understand, in the teachings, always said, there shall be no prophet. As man's knowledge is there for him to understand, the knowledge of prophet is according to understanding of his own creation. Then you understand how, in the word of many of you, you are waiting for Messiah, you are waiting for Mehdi and the rest of it. Because that is the level of your understanding of your creation. That's your Mehdi, that's your Messiah, that's your Savior. Then none of you and none of the creation in the universe waits for somebody to bring the message except you to the knowledge of yourself. But don't get embedded in dogmas and trying to protect what you understood. Be openly to the all knowledges from man, to the knowledge of those who come across different levels of universe to teach you. When the human race reaches that point, the human race is ready to embrace the knowledge of the creation and the creator. Then, if you look at this picture, and look at the picture in the back of the book number 3, all we've done for you to understand is we have put Creator in the center. And the rest of the divisions, according to the strength, has become what you have seen. And then now you understand how the knowledge has been taught to you so profoundly in the books, where you see the connections, the dimensions of creation, the understanding depending on the strength. Then, in so many ways, mankind will become to understand its potential in what we call the position of the creation. And then you will understand more. And then in that process, you do not need to be seen and be there to see the Creator. As the knowledge of the totality becomes knowledge of the creation. And one day, mankind will understand what it means. I made man in an image of myself, as the man has access to all. Depends how you have twitched it in understanding the knowledge of the creation. Maybe now, for the first time, for you as knowledge seekers, becomes easier to understand the pattern, the process of the teachings over past years. What we have taught in past 19 years, more or less, in public domain, from the governments to individuals, was to bring mankind to the process, to dispositions. To understand that the totality of the life in the universe is equal for all, depending on the extent of your openness to the knowledge of creation and the environment. You have become conditioned to different ways of living. But in essence, the soul of the Creator is within every cell of the creation. It does not matter if you're on Earth, planet Zeus, a galaxy, or a universe, or within them. Even the separation of the what we call planetary system from each other within it there is a magnetic field separation that they position. So there must be a life even with that environment, because it exists interaction of the field. It's not just one stick that you have and you see, but it's the totality of the structure which mankind has accepted to what we call endeavor to understand about its own creation. This part of the teaching will come to become the way for you to understand the creation, or it'll become something which will be hanging there till one day you understand the change. For us to extend our knowledge, for us to extend our what we call the understanding, is for us to understand the truth about our own creation. The truth about how we come to survive, how we come to live. Now, with this picture, if you understood, you understand the teaching from day one, that we only take, as I said just a few minutes ago, 20% of our energy from the food we eat. And that energy, which we take for the physical dimension, can be replaced with energies of the universe without killing, without destroying, without, in so many ways, putting a lot of people, a lot of being in danger. Knowledge seekers, now you have a bigger problem than you ever thought. Now you become your own Messiah. What does your soul tell you? What can you accept in the knowledge of the creation, and how much, into which fields of the universe you can tap into to create the pleasures of the life within the dimension of no physicality. And then you understand, even the earth itself is another pack of fields which is on its way to become something else in the dimension of the creation. Those who went with the work and understanding and the work of Mitra, which means they served, they find a path, very short, but very direct, in different levels of the creation to the creator. Those who go on a path of other ways most probably find the journey has become longer, and it's a longer way to find it back to understand the totality of the knowledge of the creation, the hell and the heaven. The hell is when understanding of the life of the creation becomes harder, and then you need more magicians. And the heaven is when you understand the process of the creation and become closer to understand the totality and nothing else. So it's your behavior, your thinking, which dictates you which way you swing the life after you separate from dimension of physicality, or in a way, when you now understand how to bring the physicality in the dimension of the soul of the man to move. Don't forget, I said in one of the teachings to a man of the rope, to a priest, I said in a simple way, maybe you understand more. Your conduct decides if you're on the journey of a still trying to understand less to one day you understand more, or you understand from the beginning the more of it, that you take that journey towards a higher order of intellect. Then the speed of travel depends on the level of your intellect. The man at this moment, according to one of the fallacies, the highest speed is the speed of light. Because that's all he can see, the light through his eyes. Now the next level will be what the man will see in the level of understanding of his own in all dimensions. This is part of our work. This is part of what the Keshe Foundation has done. And how we will end up to be. The process of totality, the process of interaction, depends on us. Depends on us how much we understand the totality, how much we endeavor totality, but don't think that we are the only one, and to what extent we understand is the only way. The old say says that all roads will end in Rome. And in all dimensions, all roads end with the Creator. But it depends which road you take. Understand the knowledge. Understand the purpose of the teaching. Understand all these equipments and systems we give you is to elevate your knowledge, not your physicality. Understand that the knowledge of the creation sits in different ways, and we are masters in it. We teach you in different ways till you understand. The knowledge of the Creator and his teaching in the dimension of the soul will match according to the level of understanding of the physicality of the man's soul, not the soul of the man. And how much is interaction will create that dimension of emotion. And something which many of you will realize and have known for a long time, and you call it a dream. And that dream is in fact, in one level of your soul, you have taken that trip. If you've taken a trip in the dimension of physicality, you will see the physical dimension. If you take in the dimension of the what we call the unicos, in that dream you see the nano-unicos. And if you take in that trip in the dimension of the strength of the Creator in the knowledge of essence, you shall spend time in that domain. This is what we call enlightenment. Is the enlightenment of the knowledge, enlightenment of the understanding the process of the creation and the Creator. We don't call ourselves a prophet, we call ourselves universal messengers, as we deliver the message of the Creator across the universe to all the same. We are part of the soul of the Creator at the knowledge that enlightens that everyone gets the same chance to access to his beauty and knowledge. At the same time, we live in the dimension of physicality that it needs to understand the process of the soul of the messengers as well. When a messenger claims to be a prophet, is the time when the messenger has failed in delivering the message the correct way, because he has put condition of physicality for his own benefit to the condition of him becoming one, and the rest to serve one. This is why now you understand we appear amongst you even as knowledge seekers, because we still seek to understand the process of how mankind will take from this position to the next, that we are ready to teach the lower evolution of life. Those who elevate in this direction, we have already reached. This is the process that we want to stop, that man does not go even worse than killing and destroying as he slides down the slope. Then you understand the change of the game, that there is no temple except the temple of the soul of the man. There is no temple except within the temple of the soul of physicality of the man, and that temple prays only to one, serves only one, and that's the totality of the creation and the creator as totality of the whole lot. Now you understand when it's said again and again, I made man in the image of myself. As I radiate further, I reach the man and I create the man in my own image. But what I have released in conjunction with what I have from different dimensions gives the man different shapes and forms according to position of manifestation. We don't hold back the knowledge. It's you who holds back the understanding. And to confirm your what I call laziness, you create other problems for us to create and change the knowledge and transfer the knowledge. As we saw, the system for flight was changed to a system for destruction to create knowledge. Now you understand, when we told you a long time ago, when we approached through CIA to Netanyahu to tell him we want to speak peace, he said, I speak peace with anyone but Keshe, because he gets his own way, because he knows he used the tools of Keshe to create more mayhem and murder, and he could not stand face to face. You got to understand, the whole process of the creation is to become, to create, and to be aware of totality. Awareness and seeking to understand why you need to be aware creates the position of knowledge, expansion of the thoughts, and creation of new dimensions. Something which many of you might have a problem with, but many of you will come to understand is very simple. We go back to the same position and the same structure. We put the man in the center. Then we put different dimensions on its dimension of physicality. And then we create, as we said, the other dimensions. As a man, when you, at the strength of the dimension of physical condition, in the interaction with the soul of the man and the soul of the physicality, you create an emotion in the brain of the man. It's where the two interact. You create emotion of physicality, cry, laughter. Now, when you move to the newer strength, through the soul of the man, an interaction of the soul of the man with what we call the soul of the dimension of the solar system, and understanding of it, you create an emotion of that level, which now exists, that you understand the totality of the emotion between the man and the universe. And it goes the same, with the same strength and root to the dimension of what we call man soul, with a dimension of that. So you create a new dimension of what we call emotion. And then, even further, you create a dimension of the interaction with the soul of the man and the soul of the creator. So you have a new dimension of emotion in respect to the creator. So now you understand, man at any time is living different levels of understanding and emotion, even within the structure of physicality of the man. When it's the soul of physicality and the soul of the man, you create physical emotion. When it's between the what we call the other dimensions, we create different emotions. And so man at any time has been all the time, in all levels, been having and living different dimensions, depending on the level of the same soul. While you're in a dimension of the physical life, you see and understand the dreams of physicality. You go to a restaurant, you see the dog, but at the same time, you are interacting with other dimensions. You are interacting as part of your structure, as they're feeding you, you create those emotions. And this is what I tell you, and I've been telling you, that according to this, according to understanding of the intellect, you move up or you move down the line. There is no order. You can be living in the dimension of emotion and reacting to your creator while you live in the dimension of the physicality and you're there. The two are happening at the same time because you're getting fed at different strengths for different purposes. And this is what the man has been blind to. Now you understand. The love of the creator shining on the man has never stopped because you receive it according to that intellect and that position. Now you understand why we position the man in the center, as is receiving everything from all dimensions. And it's very much like a funnel hole, the creator and the man. And how much more you want to go down this rabbit in the dimension of understanding the soul of the creator, where this dimension is enlightenment and heaven, and this direction is what we call the hell. The more you give from your soul, that you have access to receive more, the more you take, the heavier you become. The black hole of the creation. Mankind soon will understand this. Mankind soon will come to understand the totality as he progresses to understand the purpose of his creation. And in Keshe Foundation, then one of the knowledge seekers made a video of the teaching that you become a star. And the way you elevate when you move in that dimension, you shine on more. And depends how much you want to shine. And would you elevate so much that you shine with the Creator at the same time as part of the creation? You care about your children in the dimension of physicality. What about caring about your soul as you elevate and you have to deliver the perfect delivery? Now, teachings from past years start making sense in another dimensional direction. I made man in the image of myself. We go for a break and we come back. And I hope I open another dimension in teaching and understanding of the man for himself as we prepare man to join according to his wishes in his teaching, in which level man wants to be part of universal community. And do you need to spend billions to get from there to here? That you see the higher level order, or you enlighten enough that you tap directly within your soul from the energies which you receive to shine back on. Rick, if you can go on a break and come back, and then okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. So we'll take a few minutes here for a commercial break and be back shortly. Thank you, everyone.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation alkalizer and energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation alkalizer and energizer. Be pure like the water.
In agriculture, plasma science has solutions for seed decontamination, improvement of plant growth, plant health, and increased crop yields at a minimum cost to producers and without need for external inputs. Various GANs are increasingly used to transform agriculture practices across the world. Seeds are soaked in carbon dioxide GANs liquid plasma to decontaminate any that may be diseased, infected, or adulterated, while irrigation of crops with carbon dioxide liquid plasma eliminates the need for fertilizers and pesticides. For plant diseases, conditions are created in the plant environment under which those diseases cannot exist. For crop pests, Application of GAN's liquid plasma creates conditions under which the pests do not damage crops as they absorb the energy of the applied GAN's liquid plasma. Notable plasma science benefits to agriculture are increased farm productivity, enhanced food and fiber production, better soil fertility management, better plant and livestock health management, sustainable food production, and increased plant and human health.
The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit. A plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Embedding the essence of the new GAN's plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists, and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here.
Okay, here we are back at the 406th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 11th, 2021. Mr. Keshe, are you there? And would you like to progress with questions in this?
Yes, I think you want to change your screen. We see part of the chat. On the live stream, we see it. Yeah, we're back on. We are good now. So, how would you like to progress? I'm sure there's a number of questions, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions to be numbered. But how would you like to go?
Well, we've got I can remind the attendees they can put their virtual hands up here in the Zoom chat, and we can allow you to speak. And in the Q&A, Salamia has a question about the comparison between the standard model of particle and the standard model in plasma science, 3 types of quark and 3 types of matter.
We don't believe in quarks, so we have nothing to discuss. The quarks do not exist. That was an imaginary knowledge which was created, and in so many ways became part of elevating a lot of people's knowledge to find more, and some people who could not understand it just stuck with it. So the quarks and these things don't exist except those who read the book about the quarks. This is why, as part of the program to Keshe Foundation, we will invest heavily in new school teaching, in the newer school knowledge teaching. Now, hopefully, maximum 2 to 3 years, Keshe Foundation will teach knowledge in the true essence of, not what has been imaginary of. To understanding the totality. We don't teach them something and then like now we see a very knowledgeable person like Dr. Salamia comes out with quarks. When you don't teach them fallacy, you don't need to correct it. And if you put the people in the right way of knowledge from childhood, we don't need to go into the process of what we call a lot of rubbish and then trying to change. It's better in the schooling to teach about the nature, how things are that they can see, than teach them a lot of things that then you have to change. Because they read first. So you will see new style of teaching will come out of Keshe Foundation, especially KF SSI will be strengthened across the internet, that the teaching does not depend if you can go to school, but you can teach being at home with the parents, where the knowledge will be shared equal between the parents and the children. It's not a homeschooling. If I put you on a trip to Mars, how can you go to school on Earth? The knowledge should be reachable to everyone across the planet according to their understanding and across the universe. You will see new style of teaching. The head of the Keshe Foundation is working on that way of teaching and education side. And Uranium team is working in structuring the other side. Gradually, we will get there. It's not battling against what it is. It's introducing a new and let people be educated in that direction. What's next?
Okay, thank you. Ruthie has a hand up here, unless it was an error. Ruthie, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for the wonderful teaching today. I think you are the teaching, let me think about the multi-dimensional beings. So if you are aware of all this internet, connected from the physical level, from the soul level, from the soul of the creator level, then it's like you are multi-dimensional being. You're aware that in this physical level, okay, I'm lean, but maybe in another dimension, and I have another name, and I have another job, but even more higher, have some other things. So recently I had a lot of people talking about this kind of experience. So it's very interesting. So would you like to explain more about this multi-dimensional living, the future of this enlightened people should have?
You do not live a multi-dimension. This is why now maybe with what you put forward, understand part of the teaching where we put and we said very clearly that when I teach, my teaching is for the whole universe and the universe. Because when we teach in the dimension of the motion of the thoughts in an inner being, we are already teaching right across all dimensions. For you who have an ear, you hear it as a voice. For those who have a different level, they hear it in their dimension. For those who have a different understanding, hear it in their dimension. But the teaching comes from the mouth of one at the same time. And each one takes from it according to their intelligence and understanding of the totality, even in the dimension of the community. You hear the voice, but how would the man in this dimension hear it in his dimension of ear and comprehension? And how does this one? Because the message is the same. If you know it, you say, I already know. But there is another hidden part, which is the same as book 1, 2, and 3. You read it first, and then you get some more knowledge, and you come back and read it. Oh, this is what they meant on that. So it's very much which book, how many times you read, and how much you've been progressed and enlightened in that passage. And this is why we don't live in all dimensions. We are the true all dimensions. We are the creator of what you see, reduction of the field forces of the creator in different levels to become to the point. And then man is in so many ways sets in to receive from all at all levels. And then in each interaction, you have different emotion, or what we call interaction of the thoughts in that strength. And thus you call it a dream. So you have an emotion already in all dimensions, but which part you're aware of, that's what it counts. In the dimension of physicality, you will see here the dreams of the cat and dog. What is the dream and what is the emotion in this? Now you understand, in the past few months, I spoke about new emotions which will explain that you never knew. Because each one of these levels has its own emotion according to his strength that is not open to the one which are inside in the lower level of strength. Now you understand how the teaching comes together. There is so many emotions in the interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the dimension of the strength in the unicast, that it creates its own emotion. And you have no meaning for it because it's not there, you don't see it, you have never felt it in the dimension of physicality. And now, as I just said, there will be so many new explanation of the emotions now that you understand this picture. Still to come. We don't live in different levels. We are creator of the levels, and we are all part of the same. The man or the creature which lives in this dimension is aware of and is looking for to elevate to this dimension, to become, to reach the what we call the knowledge of the creator. The man or the creation which lives in this level, he strives to reach that much to the level of the creation, that when it reached, it shines back down on you. So when I teach, you will hear the voice of the man. Those others will hear in their dimension and strength the same message, but they interpret it to what it fits in their strength and dimension. As life, what we call the interaction of the fields of creation, is all the same across the universe. This is why I just said we are called the messengers, universal messengers. We are the messengers of the Creator, as we come from the essence of totality. Prophets are for the man who make a profit for themselves.
But
That is in your brain, not in our work. Yes.
So how many universe messengers are here on Earth right now?
The whole universe carries one and only. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. There's a question in the live stream from Freed who asks,
I extend this
okay,
to what you said, is that we look at the one and only as the soul of the Creator, not the physicality of the man. You have to understand that point. Carry on, please. What does Farid says?
he says, dear Mr. Keshe, I remember an earlier quote by you. If we are not hungry, we can be in love with the whole of creation. So why do I still have an urge to munch? Does this contribute to the 20% left?
Sorry about that, I couldn't unmute. Yes, and that is what we are trying to bring about, that you cannot, you still need energy to survive. But the only thing is we change the menu, change the ingredient, nothing else. Learn to tap in what is freely made available in the universe for you by not taking from one which is already worked to put it together. That's all. You have meat eaters, you have the vegetarians, you have vegans, and now there is a new menu. Fields of the universe. Learn to tap into it. That's all. Then you can tap very straight away to whichever level you want.
Okay, we have Ed with a hand up here.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Ed from Indiana. I would like to understand how we get past the level of emotional awareness that we're at right now to, let's say, the next level. Your drawings showed us that when we interact at the next level, we create a different emotional awareness. But right now, the palette of our emotions that we experience is at the physical level. How do we get to interact at the next level and create a different emotional awareness?
The new systems. Somebody's open. The new system, especially the vision and brain enhancement unit, will bring this fact to many of you who went through it very rapidly, within seconds, and it stays with you. And the more you go into it, the more you understand what it needs to be done, what it needs to be to handle the two emotions. People who've been through the process of the new enhancement unit talk about new experiences of emotion, talk about new experience of physical emotion in all dimensions. I've been witness to them in the recent past. I've seen how the souls have been elevated. I've seen how emotion within seconds have manifest themselves entering these systems. What we see in our trials, what we see in our testing will shock many of you when you see it, when you enter it, when you feel it, when you come to understand it, that how beautiful life is if you understand the totality. If you understand the condition that the whole caboodle is perfect for you according to your understanding. And you'll come to be very much in tune with yourself, in tune with your creator, as now you understand you have access to it. You call it enlightenment. When you enter these systems, when you get fed through your soul, would you think you can feed the physicality, that you'll not kill anymore, you will not destroy anymore? But once you get to that point, just because now you have access to the fields of the universe, would you be able to jump straight away to the higher levels? Or do you need to spend time to gather more? This is especially why in the past weeks, I cleared something very, very, some of you might not have understood about the creation of Mitra. In so many ways, when you call it Eve, set out to create for a creation of Mitra, which is the completion of totality, she took the best from every dimension to make sure that every creature, the strength, the best of beauties of all races in every dimension, whatever the creator could create to be the best, which in essence comes from the soul of the Creator himself are in all dimensions and strength within the time and the frame of the manifestation of Mitra. So when what you call Eve went to create Mitra, she took and spent time across the universe to make sure there is no strength that can lead to something else. That when Mitra manifests amongst the man, she is the sign of the Creator. In essence, all the fields of the Creator in all dimensions became what you see. And this is the point of change. The true enlightenment understanding of the totality is manifestation of Mitra, where the man and all creatures of the universe will have access to the Creator through the knowledge. She shall be soon amongst us in both dimensions and enlightens the universe and the universe. The best has been collected to create the soul. And that's what I said, the Mitra is created out of the soul, not the dimension of physicality, where now we create the physicality of egg and the sperm to create the soul. This time the soul has been created that it fits and befits in every dimension. And as I said, I'm servant to serve. Any other question?
Ed, did you have a second question? Sometimes Mr. Keshe allows it.
We don't have a choice. We had Jalal. He made it fashionable.
Well, I don't know what to ask after that really, but the creation of Mitra in our dimension, will it be our choice to be aware of it or not?
Being made aware of it is your problem to understand and recognize.
Thank you.
Okay, Cristiano had a question in the chat here earlier. Can we say that the flight enhancement unit is a cocktail of fields where we can connect with any force field in the universe? Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Beautiful teaching.
It's not a shortcut. As I said many times, you cannot load a donkey when the donkey has not got the string to carry the load. You have to understand the totality to become detached and at the same time to become part of attachment that becomes a stepping stone for another person, another soul, another being to step up. When you become the soul of detachment, you'll find the path. Somebody asked me very recently, you speak about detachment, but you've been here for thousands of years attached to this planet. And I said, yes, to see the birth of Mitra. Then I'm detached. When the cycle of what you call world peace, the cycle of no hunger, the cycle of no pain as a dimension of physicality rejoices life in every dimension. We're not attached to physicality. We are guardians to make sure that point for the whole of the universe is reached. Then we have finished our service. And that time is very soon. My mission is complete.
I hope they give you a good vacation, Mr. Keshe, because you've certainly been working hard on this planet.
Oh, it's enough time. Over thousands of years come across me. Any other question?
I'm so fortunate to be witnessing it now. We have a hand up here in the attendees, Giovanni. Would you like to go ahead? And do you need a translator or? You had a question in the chat here. I will have to use my Google Translate to see what that was. The translation is not very clear. It says physical and the soul. Are we then dictional? I don't know what he means by the dictional. Demisicones.
Do we have any Italians who can translate?
I think it is Italian, yes. If you have anybody here that can translate Italian, you can put your virtual hands up and maybe help us with that, or help Giovanni. Dan is here, and Raphael. Okay, I'll just,
So it's not what you thought.
Hello,
Maybe
can you hear me?
Portuguese. Hi, Raphael. Good day.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
How are you?
Doing good.
Thank you very much for beautiful work in Brazil. It's amazing what you're achieving.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Yeah. You want me to translate the question, right, Rick?
Is it in Portuguese?
Yes, in Portuguese.
Okay.
The question is it was not clear in Portuguese also for me, but he's asking about the soul and the physicality are dimensional. That's the question.
Pardon?
Let me try to read again. The soul and the physicality are dimensional. That's his question.
Yes. If you go back to the teaching from the beginning, if you understood, we put the soul in this dimension. Now you understand. Through the soul of Mitra, understanding of it, you become the soul of the creator and vice versa. But it's not physical elevation. is the elevation of the understanding. The process of the creation at every level.
Hi, Mr. Keshe. May I know, is Mitra the soul of the light?
Mitra is the light. That's the light of the knowledge, not the light of physicality. I was explaining to part of our knowledge seekers in past few days, as we progress in developing the what we call wellness centers around the world, in places like Arizona in the coming months, you will see the building of Arizona. But you will feel the light and the fields of Arizona. The way we have structured the systems in Arizona is unique. Arizona is structured, many of you will go to it and you will see it, in a very specific way, where we have the body enhancement unit for field transfer. Then we have the vertical enhancement unit. And then we have the called vision. And in this process, you will understand the transformation of the fields, where the vision enhancement unit behave like electrons. The body enhancement unit become the transition line. And the vertical unit become the feedbacker of the system. And this will create a dynamic fields around the whole structure. Where with this process we create a new dimension of the fields and landing. Not with the field strength of the earth, but the field strength of the understanding of the emotion. Now even you might understand why the space flight system have a bottom flat, but they have a creation of this shape, where the interaction of the two fields will convey the pressures. As I said to the knowledge seekers and the people we are working for the development of the new space centers, the way you see the what we call the flight system with a door on the side, this is for what you call human transportation. When we go to the bigger dimensions, the loading will be done from the center and from underneath. That's why we are setting up to build new, what you call, landing spaces to make it easier. This is part of the understanding how we will do. The new enhancement centers, which are about to come into build and operation, will go on the basis of very much with all the facilities on the site. We try to create this in the dimension. I have to position this right that you understand it. Don't get the wrong image. Where all the people within a building and outside benefit from the operation of the system. We hope in a coming time, not many people will need to run these systems, but the fields created will create the dome of everything. Refuge, sanctuary, even in time of disaster. Once you enter this dome, you can extend it according to the process of the enhancement unit. You can accommodate thousands of people who get involved or are in the process of moving from disaster. You come in, you receive what you need, and you go back out. We saw the creation of this dome in a very soft way at the beginning when we started working with Ali in Canada. But knowledge seekers were not ready at that time. We abandoned the project because it's no use going ahead with something when people cannot see. If you remember, Ali made the pyramid. In private teachings with Ali, I realized he understood more, but he cannot put it because he could not translate the knowledge of the soul to the knowledge of physicality. But if he ever comes, because he was around a couple of years ago back in teaching, he still listens, comes back and explains, people could see the enlightenment. It depends on this enlightenment of the soul, not the enlightenment of the physicality. Any other question? We will deliver very soon upon agreement with the 5+1. The first unit should be in Arizona by mid-December. And on delivering of the first 48 units into Arizona, many of you will feel the dimension of the soul of physicality. And then we will see how the position and time will change. And many of you will be enlightened by just entering the new
dimension. Giovanni has a further question and a hand up here. Maybe he'd like to talk, and Raphael could translate. Or Raphael, could you help him with that? And he has a question in the chat there. If you could translate that, or get him to talk, that would be good.
Yeah, let me try to read here the question. So he said, in my understanding, the soul and the physicality always walk together, or they are separate, one in each space and time.
How can they be separate? How can you separate the soul of your creator from yourself? You don't exist. Any other question?
We have a question in YouTube from Lil Plasma 2. Hello, good day. Question from Jose Morgaz of the Hispanic group. Adam and Eve had a navel. Did you understand the question, Mr. Keshe?
No.
Did Adam and Eve have a belly button or navel?
Do not attribute physicality of the man to the creator. essence of connection and interaction between the souls exists. What name do you want to call it? Why do we have the belly button navel? Because that was a line of the connection between the child and the mother. That's in the dimension of physicality. The creator never cuts the line of connection. Man is never alone. But in the life of the man, we give birth to the child and we leave it for him to grow. That's the dimension of physicality and the attributes of the creator.
So I guess it would be true that if we proceed as humans to go through with birth without going through the birth canal and all of that, then people will be born without belly buttons.
In a way, we are both dimension because we have to confirm the existence in the dimension we exist and follow the pattern. But in a way, the essence of confirmation of existence in the dimension of fields of the creation, which is the soul of the man, will co-live and co-birth. Not as a prisoner, but as equal and above. To give. You know, Liverpool Football Club has a beautiful song which they become their motto. You never walk alone. As the soul of the man, you never walk around without the presence of the soul of the creator. Any other?
I have no questions in the live stream, YouTube, chat, Q&A. Oh, we have a hand up from Kay here. Go ahead, Kay.
Thank you, Rick. Can you hear me?
Yes, very good.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Thank you ever so much. As always, you deliver the best of the best, which is very difficult to catch up. It may sound odd, the question I'm trying to ask, but it's been baffling me for a long time. Even though I asked a couple of questions in that line, I still didn't get the satisfaction of my the ambiguity and my quest.
You demand satisfaction.
No, not really. In terms of coming to terms with understanding, this is a bit of a soul question. You have stated that our soul puts us in a position to carry out certain action. And at the same time, we know our soul is from the creator, and they carry the knowledge of the universe equally, at least those which are true humans, and the knowledge comes from the solar system, our planet, or I mean our sun, who gives us this knowledge. Now, my question is, if the ethos of the universe is as such that all the souls carry the same good deed, and they do nothing wrong, as the three kings that you always mention, which is quite right as well, do good, talk good, and think good. I want to know, why does people go and kill or steal or do all of the horrible thing in the universe if the soul is the one who puts them in that position? So why would the soul position its own creation to a position where it is horrible, and while it reduces his own strengths with the action of his physicality that he has created?
You see, at the point of the creation of life on this planet, due to literally physical condition of the composition of the elements of this planet and position of it when life was created, it wasn't done in totality. It was like a wheel missing. And that wheel out of the four wheel of the car is the absorption of energy, which ended up with killing to receive. And possession became part of the structure of the emotion of the man. We like to possess, we like to hold, we like to have. And for it, we do a lot of other things. Those of who are around me, I always explain to them, they say, why do you live this life or whatever in these conditions? Because unfortunately, if you turn up with a rag and if you turn up with a car from 1940s, nobody listens to it because the man's brain has become the man of possession. What you possess, they assess what to listen to. And in that position and dimension, you learn very fast that we would like to possess, and with it, we create dimensions. When I used to be in the world of business, I used to have two cars. One car, a normal car, very humble. And that was when I used to go and do as part of my work to buy products or buy do deals, which was in a way, people don't see you coming with a top car. So they say, oh, the guy is, you can do a deal with him at the lowest prices. When I used to sell goods, I used to go with the best car because it was a position of, I don't need, you want what I have, is my way, my condition. And it always worked, 99% of the time worked. Because man looks at the possession and the position. If I stood with a ragged trousers in the corner and I spoke about this knowledge, nobody listened. Dress well, bring the right environment. We have 300, 400 million followers and increasing rapidly. Because some of those who saw us as a danger, they created the problem. Those of you who were interested in the knowledge, you took the knowledge side. But we play both games. We play in the game of the knowledge, and we play in the game to force those people who are materialistic to go our way. I was online maybe a couple of weeks ago, and Wang Lin has been present in some of the world leaderships. We sit and talk. And we sit and decide and support who and how certain people become world leaders. And the condition of our support is implication, application of peace in exchange for support of the Keshe Foundation in knowledge and technology. And when we deal with these people who expect to be in a position of the leading a nation, we treat them that way. We set the table fit for the king. Wang Lin has been in a couple of these situations with the people who we appoint to become the next world leaders. Because we do knowledge in exchange for peace. And you have to treat these people at that level. That you create that condition and you have the means and you give the persona that they trust you can do that. But when they get to position of power, they usually change. But now we learn, we tie their hands right behind their back to the leg that we get our way. And it's very You cannot imagine, or maybe you can imagine, how we deal with these ambassadors and world leaders to be other world leaders. I think the first time I sat on the table with them was shocked how we treat them exactly how this is the life is and how their life as in will be. But at the same time, I walk into most probably the cheapest cafes and I sit and eat at the same time. Because it's not a position, it's understanding the joy of you can bring that change. I live amongst the man, so we have to understand the totality of the man. And it's a very strange situation, and you have to be fit and be ready for all of it at all time. And some of the knowledge seekers, when they see us in these positions, they cannot comprehend how you can be in that position and the next day or the next hours, you become a common man on the street, because that's how life should be. We should be humble that much. Many of the knowledge seekers in the countries we live have been there. We have become in touch with them because they don't expect you. They expect you to be always everything that they can imagine, but we are the same as you. And this is what man has to be. Understand the position and bring the position to befit the time and the place. We had experience a few years ago. We were sitting in literally a bakery, two rows of chairs against the wall, and there was a gap in between. I've said that before. A guy managed to get himself in the gap, and he doesn't ask me, is he Mr. Keshe? He asked the person with me, is he Mr. Keshe? Because he's not expected to sit in the bakery and eat like everybody else. When you learn to be humble, when you learn to be part of, then you can progress in soul, because you see both dimensions. You see how you can elevate some souls and how even you can elevate your own field of physicality to understand more. And when you become that humble, when you get that rich, to be a father, to be a friend, to be leading an organization like Keshe Foundation, and at the same time deliver the message of the Creator, is not easy. But to be humble enough to do it is an art. And over thousands of years on this planet, we have mastered it. گر خواهی نشوی رسوا همرنگ جماعت. Means if you don't want to stand out, become part of the society. Then it's easy to do. And yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Yes, we have another question from Giovanni. If Raphael could be so kind as to translate. I have a rough translation from
Yes.
YouTube,
Translate here, this one said. He asked, is there a pure soul and an impure soul, or this is just fantasy created by the Bible?
There is a pure soul. It's not a fantasy, it's the soul of the Creator. And shall be as part of it, the soul of Mitra, has been and shall be. Mankind does not understand in what conjunction of changes Any other questions? Shall we call it a day?
Perhaps we can deal with one of the questions, one or two questions from the Q&A here that were here for a bit, Mr. Keshe. We have a question from Paulo, who says, we were taught by Alex that the speed of light squared in Einstein's formula must now be changed to harmonize with the ethos of the universe, and replacing the C for compassion and the C for courage. So he says it reminds me of Bushido, touted in the movie The Last Samurai. This warrior path, cultural heritage of samurai warriors, encompasses loyalty, honor, courage, and benevolent respect. In one of the workshops on Thursday, it was said that in the future, we will have BCs with some uniform protecting these ethos from the universe as plasma soldiers in events around the world. I ask, is this really necessary, or will technology by itself take care of transforming humanity's mindset in our world, so far from concepts, beliefs, ideas, and still very latent in confrontations, as we saw in the American Congress? It's a bit of a long question, but basically...
Hey, do you know, for the first time, I've been waiting for 8 years to tell you this week. Can you move your microphone a little bit further? Do you remember you used to tell me?
Was it too loud?
No, we hear the breathing. I got that from years from you. Now I can tell you for the first time I know what you mean, because I can hear it from yours. Well, you change your microphone.
Yeah, I finally have a microphone that you can hear, and I really do breathe.
It's nice. How can you answer this long question?
Well, he's saying, will it
cut it into bits?
He's talking about these plasma soldiers that'll be dispersed to events around the world. He's asking,
we are the
is this
soldiers.
Necessary?
We are the soldiers. Not in a physical dimension, in the dimension of the soul. I received a message from one of the knowledge seekers this morning, which I thought it was fantastic, but in a way, he's changed the knowledge into application, and he makes a living out of it. And he said, I placed Magrab system in a prison. It's 700 meters long or whatever. And he says, I received a call from the director of the prison, if I translated correctly, that since we put these Magrab systems in prison, the behavior of the prisoners have changed. And he said, I'm so proud. I called to tell you this is the message I received from the head of the prison. And I thought, maybe for the first time, the knowledge seekers who were waiting for power reduction have come to understand the power of the Magrabs. That a man sees change in the behavior of his prison and the prisoners, while the Magrab systems are there to benefit them physically. And I thought, this is what now the new enhancement units are supposed to do, but in a more rapid way. And we're seeing the same with the orphanage in Tehran. And strange enough, this information comes from the knowledge seekers of Iran. And we see gradually how we are bringing the change. A few Magrab system in the prison, many of you watering the, what we call every Sunday, is those little Magrab seeds we are planting. hopefully in the next few months, when we start building strategically the wellness centers, we will connect the planet together to bring that down. And you will understand very soon that center points of connections become the what we call the wellness centers. And when we build 1,000 of them around the planet, being from the islands to richest nations, our purpose in so many ways, okay, you go into the enhancement center to serve, to help with your whatever, but our bigger plan is to connect, to create a layer which the physicality of this planet has been lacking and has led man to kill. If you understand the game which we have set out now to do, is very simple. This planet is for shortfalling to deliver to all its creatures that they need to kill, from the lion to the man to the plants in different shape or form. Now, with establishing the enhancement centers around the world, strategically we'll choose, we give that dome the light of the Creator to change the man that does not need to kill. Every enhancement, if you just noticed a few minutes ago when I spoke with Arizona. But the ultimate goal is creating that dome, that in conjunction, it becomes more or less what this planet could not do from the outset, we support it. And when you are dropping the ganses every Sunday, everywhere, you're helping us that will be ready for the time when we create the dome. You cannot do it by satellites due to the motion and everything else. We physically fix the satellites, but we know the power of our system. I was explaining to John how important it is to finish the facility in Arizona and extend our work across the planet. Now you understand where the change is coming, how we're changing the condition by all of you, in a way, by as more and more, or a few of you are putting these gas waters, you're creating the connection we need. It's understanding the process of the work. It's the same thing when we build the first CO2 centers. Is very simple. And that is, we take, for example, the city of Tehran. We don't make it so squarish. We strategically will plan the system the way we want. And then strategically we choose amongst the process how we scatter, that we support the waves into the center. That collectively we change the atmosphere of Tehran. It'll be done the same with New York and the rest. But this is part of what we call the process. Just 1 second, please. And this is the plan of our work. And we have to see and wait to understand. Then you see everything we do has a reason, but we start along before we get to the completion. We just put the foundation that is ready by the time to build, to achieve what you want. Yeah, to what is for the betterment of the, not just the human race, but the whole of the creation. We sit within the soul of where we want to be, but we are still allow them to do their way. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day?
Well, there's always more questions. Perhaps we can just deal with 1 or 2 more here, if you don't mind.
Yep.
From Antonio in the Q&A.
And I book in for the overtime.
Okay. Twice as much as you usually get. Okay.
Which is nothing good.
Yes. Antonio is asking, says, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for this amazing teaching. My question is, have we now come full circle and are now on our return to our source, the creator, which we are part of and where we come from? And when you say the earth is slowly moving back towards the sun, is this our connection to the creator, our sun, the return to where we come from?
That is a physical condition of the earth. We live the physicality on the earth, but the soul of the man at the point of departure takes its position in different dimension in the universe. And we are always depending, as we said, on what we've done on the way forward towards or on the way away from the source. And you follow the golden rules of Zoroaster, you get there in a smoother way by enlightenment, not by the dimension of physicality. You see, the man is like a child who sits on the lap of the father and gets all the love, and he always thinks, I have not received enough. And he always blames the father for his own greed. And man is that way. When our religious leaders explain to the man that the heaven and hell is a position in respect to the creator, we will not wait to burn in one and to have honey and whatever in the other. It's very interesting how man has conditioned himself. You always want to be closer, but you don't realize you are part of the closeness. In many teachings, in a very simple way, I refer to especially early teachings. Maybe now it comes to sense. And we come to understand that we are positioned. We position ourselves. We come to be part of according to our own decision, according to what we do. And we are in that position of the mind frame of understanding the totality. We create conditions. When we create conditions without expectation, then we see different than when we create conditions with expectation. And as a man, to elevate, we should never expect. There to create a condition for others to elevate is your job. Any other question?
Yes, if we could get Jalal in here, that would be good.
My God, we'll be here till tonight.
I will make it short, Mr. Keshe. Good day.
Hi, Jalal. How are you?
I'm
Thank you very
fine.
much for your work.
Thank you,
You're
Mr.
doing
Keshe,
a
for your
beautiful
teaching.
job.
Thank you. That's all from your knowledge, Mr. Keshe.
Let me, before you start, Jalal, because
Yes, please.
it'll be in public, we will call upon a number of knowledge seekers like you to become the teachers in the new institute in Austria. And we hope those we call upon will respond positive. And we hope we'll see you as part of the structure of the new science and technology and sharing knowledge the way you do. And I thank you for it. Your teaching is amazing, and in so many ways. Knowledge seekers find out what they really never understood and what they need to understand, but in a very, what do you call it, a strange way. Thank you very much for your work.
Why, Mr. Keshe, always you bring the tears to my eyes? Thank you very much.
I don't
Mr.
know,
Keshe.
because we maybe come from the same part of the world. We are too sentimental.
As always, Mr. Keshe, we are here to serve, and in the way which is possible to serve. Now I forget my question. My God.
You see, that was a good way. Thank you very much for coming on, Jalal. Rick, we can say goodbye.
Okay. Okay, I remember. About the orphanage, Mr. Keshe, you said you will release a video about it. Is it the time for it to be released? Because really we needed that video.
We have the video. We have I have to ask what do you call it, the situation from the people in Tehran. And we have to get their authorization to be able to do this. And maybe we show this as part of the work with what is to come in the next couple of weeks. Let me ask. I cannot tell you yes, because we have the videos, but the people in charge have to tell us in Tehran.
Okay. And auxiliary question. Do I need a suitcase?
Where?
To be part?
I don't know. Depends if your wife gives you a suitcase, so she puts you out the door. Go. I had enough of you.
I am already near the door.
You already live just at the edge. No, it's we are going through the process, as I said, and we are in that direction and in that situation, and we don't lose sight of what is going on, but we need to teach masses in a new way. And one of my thoughts with the new university is not to be so much classroom. It's so much the classrooms to be live, that anybody can go into any classroom. That the knowledge is not kept by 1 or 2 or 3 people in that research or in that group. As we do not carry patents anymore, as is the openness of the time, we have to move into the next step of the science and technological advantages we have now to share knowledge like this. My view is, with the new university structure which is coming up, we will spend a lot of money to do it. is that the classrooms has to be open to everyone who wants to come into it and learn whatever it is from it. Maybe you go to 10 classes in one day and learn a bit from each and you come up with something new. When I've said this many years ago, I don't know if some of you remember it. When I was invited by the Chinese government in 2007 to China, that time president, before President Xi, he appointed his personal physician to look after us while we were in China in showing the development progress in China. And one of the strangest things he did, he was a heart surgeon. He said that we come to my hospital, to my surgery, and we went to the hospital. And when I went into his surgery operating room, it was different than any operating room I've seen. I've been born and bred in hospitals and everything else. And he had a table, operating table in the middle of the room. And like an open auditorium where other heart surgeons could sit and watch or the one student. But there were cameras all focused on this bed that other heart surgeons or people who are doing simultaneous operations all over China could see. So the knowledge of one man was immediately spread across the nation. And this is how actually China progressed so rapidly in a very advantageous ways. And that taught me a lot. I remember he saw the impression of his, he said, "You're shocked how we Chinese teach millions in one go. And in the West, you still close your doors and nobody sees." And we carry with the same structure that when you teach, anybody across this planet can tune in and be part of the university. So knowledge cannot be, I don't think you will ever see classes where people sit and be taught, maybe one or two, but mainly is developing new dimension and new position. One of the main things many of knowledge seekers have to learn is the construction of the brain, construction of the cells. And I started this years ago with a knowledge seeker who I came to understand had different whatever condition. The making of the brain, the structure of the emotion, and what we call the situation and position he could never see what gift was given to him. And he claimed he's done nothing. And I would like to see in the university, not only building the brain of the man in the laboratory, in open space, but interaction of the emotions, how it's created with the soul which creates that system. And then we understand the interaction of the soul with the physicality, doesn't matter in what dimension. If God has created, man can do same. If you understand the way. You don't need to clone it. You can build it from scratch. It's just understanding the process. This brain structure was in Keshe Foundation laboratory till I left after the death of Pabi. But the knowledge seeker came in and got stolen by all the affairs we've seen in the past year and a half around the foundation, making sure does not come the knowledge. And the ignorance of abuse brought the knowledge seeker to abuse of himself. It's not that we don't teach, we teach, but knowledge seekers have their own way of working with it. And it's very interesting how you, as new angles and teachings, understand the process and the interactions and all science, what I call the politics of the knowledge. You have a lot to do in the new center. And it's an open teaching. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. I hope you're still at the door in the garage, not outside. I lived in the garage for a long time doing the work. I know how it feels falling asleep on the tables.
I am about 30 centimeter from the main door.
That's good. We try to push you outside. We give a hand to your
I think
family. Just push him outside. We'll catch you.
I think today is the kick.
No, you don't need a kick. You have a gorgeous family behind you.
Thank you, my dear.
A lot of you have to understand, as I said before, we have started taking on knowledge seekers around the world and their movement into different positions for the Keshe Foundation, what we call development, which is to come. And you got to understand, this is something which I always opposed, but now we see we are getting into what we don't want to do. Knowledge seekers moving into position for the Keshe Foundation with their families. As long as it brings unity of the family and not for one to achieve one, is the beauty of it. Now we see knowledge seekers as a family working within the foundation, and it's beautiful to see it. We don't split, but we bring more closer. And this was one of my objectives that become the cornerstone of bringing mankind together than the splitting. And it's nice to see the way, especially around Vince and other positions, we see this happening. And understanding this will change a lot of things for knowledge seekers. In the coming weeks, we announce the changes and the positions, and we'll see how we build it up. Thank you very much for today. And this week is the birth of many of the, in past 7 days, of the knowledge seekers around the world. And some are in transit, some of them are in position. We give you the best wishes for your birthdays, as you all so committed to the foundation's work and what is happening around us. And I hope we will have a very good news for many of you in the coming weeks and days as we progress. And we'll see how collectively we can do. And please do not think just because you're a knowledge seeker, Keshe Foundation has to take you up. Maybe you have the expertise, but not at this moment for us to utilize it. Maybe in the coming future, but do not give up. And we'll see what comes up. As I said to the heads of the Keshe Foundation in the past few days, we will bring in a employment vacancy list that we need to fulfill. And hopefully we can fulfill these with the expertise, not just because you're knowledge seekers. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you very much with everyone in the background who makes these knowledge seekers teachings possible and sustainable. See you next week, and let's see what might come up next week.
Okay, very good, Mr. Keshe. Thank you so much for another Knowledge Seekers workshop here, 406 on Thursday, November 11th, 2021. Okay, we've got coming up on Tuesday of next week, I believe it's November 16th, will be the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. And that starts at 4 p.m. Central European time. Okay, I'll play a couple of promotional videos to end the workshop with. Thank you, everybody, for attending today, and see you next time around.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.